Zero being banned out again would not be completely out of the ordinary, seeing as we're going to Chalet Specialist. Let's see.
Oh,
no, the
like
Brava.
that.
But the Brava, again, another very powerful operator. We didn't actually see her played all that much in the previous map, but if you look back at like the most recent Major, for instance, she was picked all over the place. So still a very powerful proponent on maps like this. That is still going to leave operators like Flores in, which could very easily deal with that same utility and the same method. So there's other options available, but it is just going to subvert the expectations a little bit. Dokabee's ban will stay in place from the previous map, however.
Yeah, two very solid bans coming out of both respective teams. Solus also going to be removed from Oxygen, and that was a deadly one throughout the entirety of Bank. No matter who she was being operated by, it was constantly a thorn in the side of Oxygen that they could not dislodge. So going to do it through other means this time around. Valkyrie's going to get banned out as well, but that leaves up a whole treasure trove yet again of ops in the defensive end. Fenrir will be in. All of our usual cast of characters as well, such as a zombie, other things, as well as Mira on top of that as well, which we actually do tend to see on this map a decent bit. So we'll see if they end up tossing that hat in the ring. But as of right now, it's going to be a Wine Cellar's Snowmobile defense downstairs. We will have Fenrir in the lineup as well as a zombie.
All right, basement's going to be the opening site yet again as BDS also take on the defensive mantle here to start off map number 2. Let's see if they'll be able to continue their rampage from the previous map. Keep in mind, they're coming into this map on a 7-round winning streak. Oxygen only won the very first round of map number 1, and since then, it was all BDS all the time. So let's see if that is going to be a continuing trend here. On to their second basement site of this series here. They're also bringing the Fenrir back too. It's been kind of switched on and off a little bit depending on the site's been played out here, so they're going to feel he has some use, and generally I would tend to agree with it.
Man, what happened in 6 months? We're really about this roam strat now on Chalet, aren't we?
Yeah.
We extending, boy. Oh my. All right, well, I'm down with it. I always appreciate a good Chalet roam. Just not something we were seeing in professional play there for a long time, just because it can be extremely volatile. But with the amount of just potent utility across the board that's available to the defense now, why not? That's what I say.
All right, well, like Stokes had mentioned, the roam game is certainly alive and well, and not just a singular player, as you will sometimes see in these situations as well. You've got Sheko getting aggressive by Library, and another one continuing to play things out downstairs. One of those Dread Mines is going to get found out very early on. However, here by Fish, it'll get knocked out. It's in a pretty off-site position, obviously, so it's not really going to have any dramatic change-up on the scope of the round. Just means BDS have to cool their jets a bit when it comes to aggression on that part of the map. Although, as you can see, Oxygen already with a pretty dangerous amount of control down here on the inside of Laundry. They can't do much with it yet, unfortunately. It's going to be a very rough take if they try to really just force the issue from this point forward. But if they can get 1 or 2 more players in position by Snowmobile, this could turn into something dangerous very, very quickly.
Great spot to kind of put themselves into this map. Great find from Newers as well, as they know this roam is happening around the mid-floor. Don't have a read on Liquefact just yet. There's potential here, but there's a drone quickly working its way towards him. End up having to work his way up the stairwell. A loser in Shiro in the process of that too, so BDS worse for wear in this one, 3 versus 5. Oxygen finally getting back to form. They're able to successfully get that first round on Bank, looking to do the same here on Chalet. Liquefact will make that a little bit more difficult though as he takes down Yogg. Yeah,
Liquefact, of course, coming into this one off of a rampage on the previous map. You heard the analysis, basically giving him the credence for the MVP on that first map. Already striking true to pick up the first kill for his team on map number 2 as well here. But something else he can do, there's still a little bit of retake ability we need to see BDS work themselves into here. But at the same time, Oxygen is slowed down. They don't want to force the issue in through the back of Wine. Reasons for that are going to be quite obvious. As you can see here, both of the walls have been double reinforced with electricity. They have been able to deal with the side wall, so Dream will pop that one open, and that should give them the second angle they need to start forcing the issue. Problem is, they've telegraphed it too much now. BDS has rotated into this to hard counter it out, so Oxygen need to be a little bit trickier with their timing, as well as, of course, their intel gain to try and play this out. Oh, Sheko really trying to test the waters a little bit there for a second. Plays right up against that Kiba, but realizes that may not be the best idea. A few seconds later, backs up into the blue hall.
Crazy amount of respect to give it out. Oh.
Hook, line, and sinker right there against Newers. As it takes him down, another member of this team eliminated, and now we are at even odds. 3v3 with just about 30 seconds to go on the clock as well. Oxygen at a loss for words and a loss for strat to some extent in terms of how they should be able to work themselves into Wine here. 2 are going to try to push the sidewall from the looks of things, but even there, it's not secured. There we go. Patience works out, though. Leaves a window open for Fish to force the issue and force the rotate away, but Brede sends not just 1, but 2 away. Might make it 4 overall on the round here as well. No, Sheko does it instead, but that's all right. As BDS rebound to take control of the opening round of map number 2 and keep their streak for map 1 going.
I mean, all commiserations over to Liquefact, but there's another player that we have to talk about from that last game, and it's Bride. Bride, double-digit kills as support, always on top of his game when it comes to those fragging moments, and he's showing it off yet again. A single bullet out of that TCSG removes one of the players initially from Oxygen on the execute, and then they just cannot hold a candle to the talent in between Bride and Shaiko. Amazing round from BDS, as this one was down to the wire, but constantly delivering when they needed it most.
Oxygen, a lack of either utility or just willingness to try and change up their own strategy there, as we see them struggle tremendously to try to work their way in through wine, whether it was the main door or the side opening here. And once again, we're getting that replay of Bride just popping off with those final 2 kills.
All right, well, I already got my first note here for Redeemer. Why does Fox have 3 arrows still? 2 smokes and a flame.
I mean, I'll tell you why, to an extent. They just weren't really set up for an execute until those final few seconds. There was always something in their way, whether it was the wall itself, the electricity behind the wall.
They forwarded a little bit too much, you know. That's really where things started, the wagon wheel started to fall off. There was like
that awkward Kiva barricade that came in once they opened the side wall. So, I mean, credit to Foxy, like, there wasn't a great time to focus on those arrows and get them out. Nevertheless, like, actually getting, I think that's what that 2-player peek along the side wall was attempting to do, if I was reading the situation correctly there. He was probably trying to line up for it, but then they got Fish got the entry, and then, you know, all heck broke loose past that point, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. But the key thing is that those 2 smokes break up the 2 angles for Bride.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but you can't get away from that right there. He's too potent in that position, and the fact that you have utility to break up that line of sight and you didn't use it is just something that you're definitely going to want back. But Team BDS able to muster that round. Oxygen having a fantastic opener. Definitely cannot take that away from them, as they were able to process the majority of the map. It's just once they dawned the door, they rang the doorbell and, well, they got a nitro cell in return. So it was not exactly the best thing for them once they were actually towards the site, but it's a lot of opportunity here, especially in this round. They're able to eliminate Alems and deal so much damage to Shaiko to start off round 2.
Yeah, the early entry power and just overall map control that Oxygen have been able to get here so far in round 1 and 2 is certainly nothing to scoff at. As you're going to see here, though, Liquefact once again popping back out for a very much needed trade in this situation. This is so far, I think, the same exact kill spread we saw back on round number 1, where it was OXG getting 2 initial kills. Liquefact comes in to trade one of those back. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see how the rest of this round goes, but things are looking pretty similar right now. However, BDS won't have as much room to fall back upon, obviously, since the basement is now locked away. They're unable to play into that same site for a second round in a row. They are still going to be able to descend 1 floor, however, into hopefully what is going to become a little bit of a bunker down in bar there.
Oxygen, so far so good. Able to maintain man count and muster up a couple of these angles, helping them break down this top floor even further. BDS continuing to hold on to Library, and they're going to want to do this extensively. Pretty sure I'll get rid of the hologram. Yana does end up barging her way from the Library just as a confirmation here. See if there's anything at the end of this tunnel, any prize for Newers. He pushes himself forward, but Renshiro with the Kobe fade knocks out Newers, equalizes his man count, and once again, Oxygen, they're running into the same obstacle. Team BDS constantly having the motive, having the motion, the idea to get one over on Oxygen, and it's happening yet again.
It's that site or near site, in this case, clear, that members of Oxygen are really struggling with to be able to get an extra kill or 2 needed to really burst themselves onto the site. Not enough confidence to move beyond that at this point here now, since they are down to even numbers. They can't afford to just throw a player at the problem and hope they can trade it out. Now it's going to be too risky being brought down with 3v3, but they don't have time to really go with any other option here. They are just going to have to brute force it. 15 seconds down, you heard our announcer give the warning out. Flashes into the connector here to hopefully blind out whoever's playing to the inside of that. I don't think it's going to work to the degree they would have wanted to. Dream with the wrong read as he tries to go for the pick, and there we go. Renshiro and I believe Bride picking up the final set of 3 kills there to lock out yet another round for BDS.
It's the exact same thing that we saw from the defenses from BDS on Bank, John. They are constantly able to keep Oxygen out of the site, and when they do eventually just get a little bit of that blade in there, they snap it off immediately. There's no real way for Oxygen to find that area to get that plant down, because BDS are obsessive with their positioning. Wherever Oxygen is, you can bet your bottom dollar that BDS is right on the other side and making sure that this is the most stagnant portion of that round possible. And it's something that Oxygen have not been able to deal with. And honestly, you can't knock them. It's so very difficult to try and get something over on BDS in these moments because, well, A, they're down on utility, and B, there's really no info for them to try and work into with these dying moments. Nobody can be on a drone. You got 5 seconds left on the clock.
Absolutely the case here. Oxygen struggling in that mid-round and late-round transition to try and work a takeable site for themselves, leaves them down yet again. It's now a 9-round winning streak if we consider the rounds from the previous map for BDS. No signs of it slowing down anytime soon either, and continuing to play just on these kind of descent strategies where they toy around with Oxygen on the upstairs clear for the first minute or two. That part of BDS's game plan has been pretty much a complete failure so far. They've gone down 0-2 for the first 2 rounds, but even just that slight fallback after the fact is enough for them to be able to regain that control and refrag it, in Lycofac's case, be able to still win things out at a 2-0 lead here so far over Oxygen. Oxygen really need to try and capture that advantage they seem to be getting in the early round and not let go of it here, because they're having such a promising start, but just never able to carry it through so far.
Drone activated.
Feels very similar to what we have been seeing. Nothing really too hot going on early on in this round. Got Fish with a solid position. He's really hoping that this first set of matches here for him will go a little bit better, but when you're going up against a team like BDS, it's kind of a tall ask, especially with such a fresh face. Even though Fish is a fantastic player, I've been watching him for years, so see if they can try and help themselves out in this round and find their second round of the entire series, which is definitely not what I thought I was going to be saying when I sat down here.
Certainly not the case, but it is what has unfolded so far here. As Oxygen slowing things down, at least on the round number 3 here, tremendously compared to the previous 2. In terms of how they've gone for a booming entry before, now it's all held back. Lycofac, though, still very much going to be the go-to player to potentially strike first here for BDS. He's got the wrap right around the corner from a big stack of OXG. 2 to 3 players sitting right within arm's reach, but obviously he needs to be careful about his own personal timing on this. And you can see those Fenrir barricades, or Fenrir mines, excuse me, are set up very well to allow him to frag out if the need should arise as well. But it's actually going to become a Lems that picks up the first real kill here. It's against Yaga as well. An important utility set piece is going to be lost. The nade goes in, but it's far too deep. And even worse, the cross that they try to establish from the outside of Ego there does not find Lycofac. Shaiko now takes that player down from downstairs, I believe, and scores yet again, working himself from the back of that bedroom area, all falling to Dream once again here in the 1v5. And it seems like, unfortunately, Oxygen have only taken a step back from the previous rounds. He'll be nearsighted out here, unfortunately, by the Dread Mines. Shooter, of course, not to walk into that again, but the intel has already gone out. They know that he's taken that extra step forward here into the office. And more than likely, it's just a matter of time before, like a factor in this case, when Shiro snaps the jaws shut on yet another BDS round.
Well, John, when you try your best and you don't succeed, it's probably because you're playing against BDS.
Give up.
Yeah, give up. Just stop. Simply quit.
Find a better use of your time.
It's like the competitive game tweets that we were talking about a little while ago. Oh no, everybody's better than me at a video game. Just quit, man. Just stop playing.
Maybe like get better at the video game, or like play another one.
Crazy. Just go play single player games, man. Stardew Valley's calling your name. I promise. Either way, though, Oxygen. Reloading. What's the best way I put this, John? They're putting their face in places where it doesn't belong, with no info really to do anything about it. It's not that they have a bad idea. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is they are setting things up around the top floor, really the portions of the map that they need, but they don't have the info basis to go off of where these angles exist and where these players are. Key part being the second piece, because if you've noticed with the setups from BDS, this map is blown to hell. They open up every single damn angle because they want you to be confused. They want that. So it's really just biting at Oxygen, and it's been something that they have not been able to solve throughout this entire series.
Now, I can kind of forgive the lack of entry power from Oxygen here on this third round just because of the fact that previous 2 rounds, they did do a pretty good job there in terms of clearing things out. So that'll just be a little bump in the road, hopefully.
The setup from BDS there as well was just, oh man, how toxic.
That's going to be the problem here, is if Oxygen now continue to struggle in the early round as well, if they're not going to be able to find those openings that they were able to get in the first rounds, and we continue to see BDS dominate in the late round, as they've kind of been doing in every other situation, then this more than likely turns into a very, very quick series. Oxygen will not be left with a whole lot to play off of or even build off of long-term at that point. Keep in mind, of course, we've only got 3 rounds left in this half. A full reset comes up after that one, where most of the intel they've garnered in the first 6 rounds is going to be useless to them, and then right back to square one. So Oxygen need to turn up the heat right here, right now, and there's not a lot of credence being lent to that theory right now.
What else would you expect out of a championship roster either, with BDS going back to a site they already played completely different strategy. We got Mira applied here. Some other tidbits of utility that we had from the previous rounds, but when they're the best ops in the game, then why wouldn't you play them? So
this is just adjusting based on what they saw from OXG in that very first round, giving them better options to kind of avoid some of the opening aggression if they want to do so. But given what happened on round 3, they might play back into it again. We'll have to wait and see. Second floor looks pretty barren right now from BDS, so more likely going to let them have that with the exception of Library. It looks like currently being played by Shaiko. Nors as well, just calm down. Aim training here in the window or something.
Homie hit aim labs before this.
He's got his little like crosshair trainer there. And oh, Nitro again. It's Lycofac as well, striking true in the early round.
Mira on a roam as well. He's on the mid floor. It's like Oxygen just. You know what the crazy thing is as well? Because I'm about to talk about the info game. They also have access to Zero. They have no idea where anybody is. They have no clue. Even Mira, who sounds like an elephant going through, a China shop, it's ridiculous. So for Oxygen, it's really punishing right now because like it's crappy, man. Like there's really no other way to put it. Like I really just want to see them find some success in this info game when it matters most. Their entry game has been pretty solid. It's just that they
fading
not
now,
let,
that's the problem.
Yeah, it's that BDS is constantly able to battle back. Yeah, it's so difficult.
That technically right there was Lycofac's first kill of the round, but he has been 3 out of 4 rounds the first kill for his team specifically. That was just the first time where he was actually first to get it. It wasn't Oxygen getting a kill against someone else on BDS first.
I mean, what do you do about this, John? They're walking right into this, too. They want this setup on the big garage side, but there's a mirror window here. Frag grenade in. What if that'll actually pop that? I don't believe it does, so won't deal any damage to anybody occupying the window. They'll get the ace charges down. Really no way for them to try and solve this one unless they had some impacts on that side, but they don't, so they'll just allow the mirror window to get opened up. So fortunately enough for Oxygen, they still had the utility in their pocket to be able to at least break up that portion of the site.
Light Claw again, so it does deny at least the initial attempt from Dream to pop the wall. You heard that impact EMP go out. There was a second claw in Breeday's hand, and oh, he timed it well enough too. The follow-up from the impact EMP was too slow. To be fair, normally in this situation, they are not going to have a pocket impact right there, but that just unexpected play from Breeday catches Oxygen with their pants down and is going to cost them some critical time here. Still with 30 seconds to work it. Under normal situations, that would be doable, but they're losing player count again. Shaiko and Breeday both able to strike. Lycofac still with the flank from the top down as well. Dream does get the opening entry against Renshiro's hold in blue tunnel, but that's such a small gesture at this point. Dream as well loses like 99 out of 100 HP in the process, so he's basically a dead man walking right now. There you go. Shaiko completes that prophecy, and now it's just Foxy alone in the 1v4. Still watching for Lycofac's flank, by the way. At least they caught it, but still it pulled Foxy away from the fight. Even when push came to shove, could not win it. Not that it would have really changed things up anyway.
Somebody get Jesse another tank of copium. I think he's going to go into cardiac arrest here soon.
That 3-map prediction is not looking too good right now.
Buddy. It's a good thing you didn't bet anything on that one, my friend, because you'd definitely be feeling the hurt. This is just an outclass moment,
walks in
guys.
with them one time and
dude, it's rough. The crappiest part about situations like this is like, what do you do as a commentator? You're like, there's outclass, man. It's just this is a different world that they're playing in right now, and that's no harm towards Oxygen. They're reworking things with Fish in here, trying to get some things figured out. BDS are really just that good, guys. They really are just that talented.
Once again, as has been the theme, even going back to map number 1 as well, denying most, if not all, opportunities just to set up the site for and execute on Oxygen, as you were seeing there with the Pocket Electric Claw, for instance, to bleed out another like 15, 20 seconds. You can see some real frustration here on the faces of Oxygen as well. This is getting dire and getting there very, very quickly. Past the 3-0 point now as well. BDS guaranteed a lead regardless of the outcome of these final 2 rounds, but even so, the next 2 rounds look very, very likely for at least one of them to go into the hands of BDS, which would leave us with another 5-1 half, just like we had on the previous map.
If they need a good mental reset after this, man, I know a pretty good shawarma spot, so.
There's a few of them, I think.
Yeah, they're everywhere, but so far, that has been definitely the food of my choice here. I'm a big shawarma guy in general, but I knew coming to Saudi it was going to be immense. It's going to be so tasty. And it was. It was so good, dude. It was so good. Did you enjoy your food last night?
Oh, yeah. It was good.
Well, we'll see if BDS continues to play with theirs. If they're going to nip this in the bud and potentially take this entire series 14-1, that would just, wow. Just wow.
Yogg at least has a very impactful Twitch turn right there. Works it in, knocks it a whole messy utility. Fish thankfully was on Repel right there and is able to avoid the killing amount of damage from that Nitro, though still seeing a lot of it hit him. Bit of a crazy sprint there from Lycofak. Just goes for the peak and Snowmobile. We're not even playing in the basement right now.
Nitro that open?
Just takes the duel. And finally, we do see Oxygen knocking him down, I believe for the first time with regards to his entry game. Newers as well has the intel on the peak from Shaiko. Shaiko smartly reads into that fact as he goes out. Quickly ducks and turns the other way.
All right, so Fish on low HP. Oxygen with a chance. This is going to be bar gaming. So this top floor of the utmost importance. You can see Newers working the mudroom as well, which is another piece to this puzzle that is indeed fantastic. Green has that broken up. Oh my, what a read from a Lems. Knowing somebody's probably going to occupy that area after they broke up the bar panel. Now, looks like Oxygen have to try and find their way into this site, try and find a spot to plant. They really need some verticality in this, John. Very horizontal right now. Oh, this might be it. Newers with a good read on to potentially green it, but no, they got the ADS there. It eats the nade. Only one smoke lies for Fox-A now, and they're letting this timer do what it does best.
That just shows once again the utility setups right now for BDS are second to none.
Disgusting.
Even when you think Breede's overextending his grasp a little bit there and creeping a bit too close, like there's no way he's got an ADS prime for that. No, he does, and it just snaps up that nade that otherwise would have certainly killed him in any other situation.
You think it's just like a cheeky little spot, but no, it was planned the whole time. Yep. They had an idea for that, and that's the thing that really just boggles your mind, is that they thought that far ahead. Oh, Yogg, not really going to be able to take an angle around that space, but Newers with two. This is what we expect out of this man. Breede, he's going to look for a little bit more, and Fox-A wasn't ready. It's a 2 versus 2. Lems, it's all down to him. Can he keep perfection here on Chalet? Borndo has the opportunity. He'll knock Yogg's head off. He knows where Fish is. He's low HP too. A single bullet will take him down. Lems, can he keep this perfection?
No.
He gets Fish. Finally, for Oxygen, will get it done, and they'll find their second round. But my God, was it hard fought.
Tense battle there as Lems tries to go wild in the 1v2 to give himself the best chance of just getting a random bullet or two into both of his opponents. A nice clean kill on the first one, but could not find Fish. So it's the new pickup here for OXG that finally locks in their second round of the series, their first inside of this map. Still one more round to go inside of the half as well. So it could be the beginning of at least a little micro rebound here if they bring it back to 2-4. That is going to be workable, to say the least, in the second half. Still, the odds are very much not in their favor, but the way we've played things out. A few mistakes being made here by BDS, like in fact with kind of a questionable duel there down below as well. Other than that, though, still a very clean hold, and it was Newers on this entry that even made that round possible to begin with, just like the other round that was also won back on Bank as well. He was very much kind of the gold star for me that allowed that one to come true.
Absolutely. I think the craziest thing about round 5 there, in between these two, is that BDS, for like the first half of that round, were definitely the world's silliest gooses. They were just doing really whatever the heck they wanted to do with the map, and it was working for the most part, but with some of those, more oddball plays, you also have those moments where things can, go awry, and that's what happened initially, as Oxygen was able to take a lot of headway, at least with the first portion of the round. But as we know, BDS constantly able to battle things back, but that does make you think, if that garage play doesn't happen, it's probably just another BDS round.
Yeah, very possible as well, and I mean, to be honest, if Breede had stayed alive for like one more kill there, then that might have sent it down the river also. Breede was going absolutely crazy by the billiards. Big window there, so it's a beautiful play from him. If he could just extend it a bit further, Newers second-guessing himself just for a microsecond there on the peak. Cost him the kill as he's not exposed enough for the bullet to land. Had the read, had the position and everything, but just not the right position to do it, unfortunately. So we will see Lycofak tuck away real quick from that position and hopefully avoid a premature death this time around.
We're really worried about somebody potentially playing back there. Something along those lines, end up blowing that up where they have some vision. Also, I do think that if you end up blowing that up, you can actually use like the side of the window to see the stairwell. Yeah. So you can use that to cut off rotations as well. It's been a minute, guys. All right, so
couple months.
My angle work isn't nearly as good as it used to be.
By the way, we've got Oxygen with most of the second floor cleared out, at least enough to where they can transition down through blue here. Well, it's really just going to be Newers on a bit of a solo adventure. He's got some support, obviously, from the drone being placed in front of him, like you said. Good positioning being established here. He's going to allow them to breach into the other part of the second floor, but you'll note there's still quite a bit of presence there from BDS over by Office Piano and similar areas like Solarium on the other side. So not necessarily going to have a whole lot of time to brute force those players out. They are trying to find a secret little spot here where they can sneak off this breach, but not been able to find it. Dream's getting a little paranoid of a top-down coming out against him here too. Backs up for just a moment here as he's not able to find a workable position to play this wall out just yet.
And this is where we run into these problems with Oxygen. Yep. We have to be solving problems here. Somebody has to have the solution.
There's the Nitro he's worried about.
Nitro cell out. No damage really. I mean, it tags up Fox a bit, but it doesn't hit its mark, and that's mostly because of the trajectory that he chose. But BDS, I mean, their trajectory is now looking towards victory.
Maybe you should let that wall closed, actually.
Licky Fack? No, it's going to be Fish. Oh. Fish is going to round off, John. Huge moment here for him. If he can gather control of this top floor, that skeleton key could be that pivotal piece of utility to try and get yet another round over on BDS, and one that they desperately need here. But the case is now down on the ground, and Fish is a lone soul left alive, breathing air here.
Unfortunately, a complete lack of entry power there once again from Oxygen. And oh, as we mentioned before, it's from the breach. It's from this difficult entry point yet again because they were not able to get Fish into kind of a winnable top-down position there due to the extended presence that BDS had the whole time. It's pretty much seals the deal on this execute before they even get started with it. It's very one-dimensional. They really only have that one angle to play through. And as a result, it just becomes a shooting gallery very much into the favor of BDS, who shut it down yet again. A quick response. And so far, one lost round they've had on this map, locking in a 5-1 scoreline yet again at halftime.
I'm pretty scared for Oxygen coming into this defensive set. Mostly because BDS were disgusting with how they were breaking down Bank, and Chalet for the offense has so many more abusable angles. So I really don't know how this is going to go for OXG as they attempt to hold things down, but yet again, BDS is showing off how talented this roster is. Again, Oxygen are no slouches. Even with Fish just working his way into the roster, this is a talented squad. They are just constantly getting outshined by BDS.
Yeah, unfortunately, yet again, just not able to work their players into a position where they can show that shine. Newer's being the most obvious one. He finally gets himself into a good winnable position there on the Bar Games attack we had back on round 4 or so, and immediately excels upon it there. Just sings his way in with 2 winner entries that otherwise would have caused a lost round for Auction had he not picked those up. Also, of course, the great Overwatch back in round number 1, the previous map, but that's been the problem, is they're having some serious issues getting him into a position where he can play out like that just because of the lack of wall breach or some other issues that are showing up here from BDS over the course of the early to mid round there. That's pretty much preventing them from getting to a late round execution point. Now the good news is, of course, Auction going to the defense, so hopefully that should immediately solve some of those issues. You can put Newers on more aggressive positions and more aggressive operators here and kind of let him do his own thing right from the beginning of the round, and he's certainly going to do that as he's going for the Frost here in round number 1.
Wow. You're a better man than me, Fish.
Oh, yeah.
I had to try to shoot him through that barricade.
I thought he was on the other side of the wall, like by the stairs or something.
John, when I'm telling you I would have risked it for the biscuit in like 0.5, I swear to God, man. Like, I've been on him so quick. It probably would have died, but hey, that's what it is. Oxygen going to keep their man advantage. Fish with a very smart neutral play there inside of Mud just to make sure that he stays alive for the remainder of the round. You don't want to get down to the nitty-gritty too early on. Let's see if Oxygen can get off on the right foot here. Fox back to his tried and true. Will be on pulse here inside of the kitchen. Trying to get some info game going for OXG. BDS is already donned the building. Lem's in the basement right now, breaking up a little bit of the trophy floor.
Awkward angle for the Lems to play if he truly wants to try and look for something on the top end. Meanwhile, it's Renshiro just walking into Newers, who doesn't even seem to be aware of the fact that Renshi's taken this map control. A quick trade from Fish at least prevents it from going completely out of hand. We're back to an even 4v4 very quickly. And now Renshiro also double traded here now by Fish as he picks up a second on the overall round. Yogg's been activated. He knows they've swung in through Solarium and immediately shuts down Shaiko on the inside of that, still with 1 target to go out on the rappel for Solarium as well. Much better read of the scenario here from Oxygen and an immediate shutdown of any shenanigans from BDS. This is the OXG we were missing in previous rounds and even previous maps here. You need to see more of this here. This is looking like a potential quick shutdown for them to get round number 2 on the board. Well, we'll see, of course, if Brede and Alems have any real surprises for us. For Alems, no, as Yaga shuts down 1 more before the end of the round here. And Brede, he's not even in the building, so his odds pretty much bar none right now to clutch this one out.
Keep huffing, Jesse. We might just get through this. I don't know. Oxygen, at least with this round, unless Brede does the craziest thing I've ever seen or casted in Rainbow Six. But we'll have to see. BDS, though, I mean, they're only 2 rounds away from gathering victory here. And really what this is just a round to kind of understand how Oxygen want to do things around the map. And it's pretty clear cut. They really want to hold pressure around the entire map and force BDS to take it away from them. A lot of good angle work. A lot of, not similar strat, you know, not the exact same thing going on as what BDS was doing, but similar vein with the way that they're breaking up the map and making it to where there's a lot of different things you have to be worried about all at the same time. And it's practically overloading the offense. So, unlike Oxygen, where they were not able to really solve this puzzle, it's now BDS's turn. Let's see what they can do.
Oxygen taking no prisoners when it came to their positioning here. Red Sheer, of course, getting away with that opener, but that's pretty much it. Trades across the board past that point. It's mainly Fish, too, that once again does that great work to retake the second floor control and prevent the overall map control the BDS was working towards from getting completely out of hand. Big stuff from Fish right there, and that's what we need to see, of course, with the new pickup on this roster. The immediate impact being made with his insertion. Certainly good news for his potential future on this lineup here, and seeing that impact show up right from game number 1.
It's a necessity, man. When you're in a game against BDS and you have the likes of, you know, like Newers and Yogg and Fox as well, I mean, he can always pop off too, even Dream sometimes. When you have, you know, talented people as your peers here, and you're the one that's positive as a rookie at your very first international event, I think you're doing something right.
Looking pretty good indeed here. This event, interestingly enough,
Fish is always looking good, man. Come on.
This event was used as like a test bed for a couple other NA teams last year as well. Obviously in more like official capacity, as Fish is just on the roster. He's not like a tryout right now.
Yeah,
but
last year was crazy.
Yeah, for those who remember last year, TSM had like Snake and I think one other player.
Was it Gasher?
Something like that. Yeah, I think they had like 2 trials for this event last year, something like
Gasher
that.
At the time, I can't remember.
Yeah, it's a bit murky now. But either way,
Snake and Gash aren't even on pro rosters anymore. I think they're both on T2. I don't know if Gash still plays. I see Snake tweet every once in a while, but it is what it is, my guy. It is what it is. Look at these angles here from Alems.
Took him on the last round, too. He's got some confidence to play in it. Here's the problem. When you're staring up like that, you can't very easily adjust to a sudden aggressive maneuver from the angle you're not playing into. Foxy, in the meanwhile, gets pegged with a flash in the face right there.
We got teleported to the center of the sun.
So he's not going to be looking at anything for a few moments. But all good, as thankfully he's in a pretty safe position. So his back's away from the hot seat. Dream, in the meanwhile.
The build-up.
This is just utility central right now, as everyone's getting hit with everything. Looking at it, it's actually not a whole lot of expenditure from BDS just yet. They've got plenty more sitting in their pocket. They brought 9 flashes into this round. Dream does get down, although not fully killed by the second frag from CYCLOPS. Oh no, this one, I can't even keep up. There's so much utility coming out. Fish claims one. Foxy gets out of there with the nitro. CYCLOPS like, to heck with it, I'm just going in. Takes Solarium control, should have died right there, but no. Newers goes down instead. Dream still down on the ground as well. He'll more than likely be confirmed in a moment. CYCLOPS also getting dropped. The hop in directly through the Kiba and violating the player that throws it as well. Yoga goes down. Fish the next to fall. It's all on Foxy now, as Dream definitely not going to get revived at this point. Look at the silhouettes. You can tell why pretty quickly there. Foxy as well. I believe they've already known his position for quite some time, so they know he's going to try to play this from bottom to top. Unfortunately, not the most workable position for Foxy to play into here. We'll still see what he can cook up. As you can see, quite a few top-down angles where he might be able to get lucky and use out a player or two with that intel. There we go.
Oh, no. He didn't find the planner, John. 2
of them, but like you said, yeah, no planner intel, so that goes down onto the ground. Time starts ticking in the other direction now against Foxy's favor here. 37 seconds to try and work himself up onto it. Realistically, just under 30 now for him to actually get onto the case. And as soon as he ascends to the top of Solarium, bye-bye goes his chances to win out this round. It's BDS up to 6. One more, and the series is theirs.
BDS processed the top floor in such a magical fashion. Although they do end up getting, taken out, at least initially, losing those 2 bodies, the team play with the drone game into the EE1D into the fragnades on Dream was so beautiful to watch. That was some money-making moments right there for BDS. And now they sit at the helm. They're 1 round away from closing this series out 14-3 on round count.
Impressive round count indeed, if it does end up coming true. But Oxygen, like we saw before, a little bit of life coming into them as of round 1 of this half. So we'll see if they can show it to us one more time.
The gloves are off, 1.5 out on Thorn.
Yeah, true. Norris will go on to that, and we will overall move into the basement here. A little bit more mitigation coming out as well. Fish going to try to deny the walls on the Bandit. We'll have some mixed results come in from that more than likely, because BDS should be able to pretty directly counter that out.
Oh, I love this so much. BDS more than likely noticed that Fish was on Bandit, and they immediately switched over to Mav. It's like, try that one on for size.
We'll just hit the skip button on his part of the ground real quick here.
I'm so happy he brought Bandit, so he's useless.
Just going to be a minor annoyance, basically, at this point. Is like, in fact, like Stokes was mentioning, is going to be able to work himself directly past any of those holds. And Newars, meanwhile, like Stokes said, the 1.5 is out in the Thorn, so that means Newars is going to get a little bit cheeky with the angle work here. Doesn't look like, all of my breath. There we go. No, the spray goes wild for Newars. Not a single bullet connecting, unfortunately, on the Shaiko. So he'll stay at full HP for that.
And that's not one that he usually misses either. And you saw how close he was as well. A hair follicle away from removing the dome of that player. We'll transition into the main portion of this garage, and Liquefact, like a glove when it comes to breaking this down, fits right in. We'll break up those Bandit batteries, keep the left panel hard, and that is some work potentially down the line. Really, it's just going to be this right-hand panel at the end of breaking open just for the rotation. What BDS is looking to do is they're looking to apply pressure around the entirety of this site. If you can get both panels open, not only inside of Wine, like those two panels, but also the garage panel as well, there's really no place as a defender to play in this map. You can really just play on the backside of the wine stock area on the pillar, or you can play inside a blue hallway. If you don't play either one of those areas, you're either going to get A, utilitied out, or B, somebody's going to shoot you right in your face. So it's going to be really difficult here for Oxygen if they cannot get something going for themselves here soon, especially with this read on this drone. They know Fish is out and about. Hopefully nobody's on his trench already, but Breeda's just going to drone it instead. Not willing to flirt with that. And also Oxygen making sure that there was a smoke piece there just to make sure that he could get across if anybody did want to try and hold that down.
Oxygen constantly trying to look for options to get aggressive, get into the face of the opening clear from BDS, but also being fully realized the fact that it's probably not going to be the best idea in the long term. So giving up those positions before they can ever really build up to anything, it would seem, just due to the masterclass of control we are once again seeing shown here by the BDS roster. Breeda realizing, of course, he's got an open wall on the side, just goes for that one. He's even going to allow the Mav, of course, to pop open some small holes into the one that's currently electrocuted. It's that main wall going into Wine as well here. Very surprised that we saw him go for a full opening on that, but his name nicely played. Dream, that's 2 rounds in a row now where he's been powerless, really, to stop his own demise. Just getting decked by nades 2 rounds back-to-back. Thankfully, looks like he's retrievable from that position, so they are going to try to go for the revive onto him. That is going to prompt an entry, however, from Liquefact. Moves in, takes out Fish, who tries to rotate back to support his team from his more adventurous position he was playing into a few moments prior. Dream, behind the Kiba, has a little bit of coverage to play from, but at low HP, is not going to be able to get too adventurous on those swings himself. Has to sit back and wait for a moment of opportunity, and it's just not looking great. Breeda now knocking out Yogg. More and more players going down. Dream, that's the 4th nade he sustained just in the last 2 rounds, and it's a flawless from BDS as they shut it down yet again. 7-1, 7-2 for a 2-0 overall victory over Oxygen.
Tisk, 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 man. Tisk, tisk, tisk to Oxygen. A lot to learn from that. Just a lot of things that they could have changed up across the board, even in that last round. Operator selection, not exactly the best for a side that gets hit pretty hard with execution. No Jaeger, no Amai. Every stun and every grenade in the back pocket of BDS, John, landed. Every single one of them. And then they just walked up the site and killed everybody. A huge oversight from Oxygen. Like, I cannot understate that enough. You're going